Outback may be a low-budget family chain that's big on theme and small on luxury, but you'll be surprised how well its steak compares against much more prestigious brands. When it comes to Sizzler, the cheapest steak on the menu is the 8-ounce tri-tip sirloin. Unfortunately, though inexpensive, this steak turns out to probably not even be worth its roughly $23 price tag. That's right, you have to pay over $20 for a tri-tip sirloin and a side dish, despite the consensus from online reviewers that the steak isn't really all that good to begin with. So what exactly are consumers saying? Apparently, the steak isn't flavorful enough for many reviewers. In addition, a couple of customers claim that the texture of the steak comes out quite tough, even when cooked to medium doneness. We can't imagine what a well-done steak must taste like. Based on online reviews, you may want to skip the chewy, flavorless sirloin served at Sizzler and save your money for a meal that's worth it. Sirloin steaks often have a reputation for being a less desirable cut of meat when compared to other steaks, and Logan's Roadhouse 6-ounce sirloin serves as a prime example of this belief, as reviews from customers haven't been very good. Some customers have blasted the center-cut sirloin as tough, chewy, and overall unenjoyable. One reviewer on Facebook claimed her sirloin tips were dry, which matches a similar Yelp report concerning Logan's traditional sirloin steak. And though affordably priced around $15 for 6 ounces, we aren't sure that attempting to shred a tough, dry, and chewy steak with our teeth is our idea of a bargain at this point. If you decide to take a chance and go with the sirloin at Logan's, you can at least celebrate knowing that you'll be given the choice of 2 sides, along with rolls and the option to upgrade your dish with extra meat, such as shrimp or chicken. But it'll be up to you to decide whether the entree itself is actually worth your dollar. Priced at around $12, the roadkill steak served at Texas Roadhouse is one of the cheapest steak options on the menu. And not just because it's actually a burger they slipped onto the steak part of the menu. This particular beefy grab is made of chopped steak and is served with 2 sides, sautéed mushrooms and grilled onions, along with jack cheese melted on top for a flavorful dining experience. So what's the problem? Some customers claim the company gets it wrong during preparation, and one even declared that portion sizes are getting increasingly smaller with less of those aforementioned savory toppings. With this apparent decrease in size, the steak sometimes reportedly cooks up differently, causing some patrons who loved the dish before the supposed changes were made to be quite unhappy. So are these accusations true? If you order the roadkill from Texas Roadhouse and come face to face with a small, dry, and scantily clad lump of hamburger meat, you'll know why previous fans of the dish tried to warn you. Hey, at least they have Willie.
For a good night of fun and partying, go to the Texas Roadhouse. They know how to do it right.
This may come as a surprise, but on occasion, the filet mignon, known to be an exceptional cut of meat, may very well be the cheapest item on a steakhouse menu. This is the case at popular Brazilian chain steakhouse Fogo de Chão. The filet mignon served at Fogo de Chão sells for around $24 for 8 ounces. The steak doesn't appear to come with any side dishes, which is a bummer but not totally unusual. Nevertheless, many customers who have tried the filet mignon here seem to love it, with one big caveat. Some complain of it being way too salty. That's a matter of personal taste though, so if you happen to like your steak on the salty side, this may be the steak for you. Described on their website as a center-cut filet, the Palm's 8-ounce steak is seasoned with salt and herb-brushed olive oil and served with a sprig of thyme. Since the Palm is considered an upscale restaurant, the pricing reflects its regality, as the establishment charges $58 per center-cut filet.
I'm a steak freak, and I want to see if it's really dry-aged and if it's really prime. And guess what? It's both.
For that price, you'd expect to be getting the best, but reviews are actually mixed. One patron scathingly remarked that everything, including the steaks, came out too quickly and tasted of microwave-quality flavor. Definitely not what you'd expect for a high-end restaurant. Others had quite a different take though, writing that the filet tasted excellent and was cooked perfectly. One thing seems to be true: consistency isn't necessarily guaranteed. Cheap isn't really cheap when it comes to choosing steak options at Morton's the Steakhouse. But though the cheapest steak option at Morton's happens to be around $54, give or take, the filet mignon au jus tastes as delicious as you'd imagine, making the price just about worth it. At least according to reviewers on Yelp, who indeed believe that the 8-ounce filet mignon served at Morton's is well worth its price tag. Customers describe it as having a delectable flavor and being perfectly cooked, something diners have come to expect for for a high-quality steak cut like this. It doesn't appear that the steaks come with any sort of side dish, but the ones featured on the menu, like button mushrooms with spinach and sour cream mashed potatoes, seem like they'd pair perfectly with this noteworthy savory steak fillet option. Much like Morton's The Steakhouse, the Capital Grille features filet mignon as one of its cheapest steaks. But at $55, it's not exactly cheap. Still, that is to be expected when you choose fine dining locations like the Capital Grille.
We age the beef in-house, we cut the beef in-house. That really gives us control to make sure that we're serving the best steak.
The 10-ounce filet mignon featured on the menu is described by satisfied guests as a winner of a dish. The flavor is reportedly excellent, and when paired with sides like grilled asparagus and mushrooms, it can make for a dining experience fit for royalty. You'll want to note that, like most fine dining establishments, you shouldn't expect to get a free side dish with your filet mignon or other steak options, but rather you order these items separately. Nevertheless, for the cheapest steak on the menu, the filet mignon turns out to be a solid pick, even if the price tag is a bit higher than one might want. Steak and fries evokes memories of an inexpensive menu item at a hole-in-the-wall ma and pa shop. That's why some diners may be surprised to see this entree introduced on an upscale restaurant menu, and even more surprised at the great reviews it has received. Exactly what you get when you order steak and fries at J. Alexander's is a bit of a mystery. The restaurant's menu doesn't mention what type of cut it is, or even what the size is. Still, people seem to like it, even at the roughly $33 price tag. This mystery steak is topped with herbed butter, no doubt making for a savory and juicy bite. Still, there's one important thing to note that holds this dish back. On the menu, there's a warning in the fine print saying that ordering your steak well done or even medium well is not recommended, and there's no guarantee the chefs will prepare it per your request. Between this and the mystery of what you'll be receiving, the steak and fries is recommended only for the most adventurous diners. But hey, either way, at least you know you'll be getting a big mountain of fries, and that's not nothing. According to customers, the petite filet at Mastro's Steakhouse is wonderful, but the size is also quite small, especially considering the price you pay. If you go in particularly hungry, you shouldn't expect to snag an 8-ounce filet as the most affordable option, the way you might at other high-end restaurants. Instead, you'll have to settle for the 6-ounce and still pay a little over $50 for it. Is it worth it? Though there aren't many reviews of it online, a lot of the customer feedback states that the meat tastes great. So if you have a light appetite or plan to load up on side dishes, then the 6-ounce petite filet from Mastro's Steakhouse might be just the pick for you, cooked to perfection.
This place did a medium rare as a perfect medium rare.
The petite filet at Ruth's Chris goes for around $52 for 8 ounces, and according to fans, it's a delicious treat. Like many of the upscale options on this list, $52 may seem like a lot or a little, depending on your frame of reference. Even so, this petite steak is by no means run-of-the-mill, as it's described as tender, juicy, succulent, and delicious. As with many upscale restaurants, don't expect to get a side dish with your steak the way you might at cheaper restaurants, so picking the perfect pair-up for this savory entree may hit your wallet. But there's quite a selection to choose from: sweet potato casserole, au gratin potatoes, cream spinach, and more. Or you can pair your steak with delicious add-ons like shrimp, lobster tail, blue cheese crust, and other tantalizing options. Whatever your choice, the petite filet makes a great starting point to plan the rest of your meal around. Most beef lovers know that sirloin steaks tend to be the least expensive on the menu, and it can often be a roll of the dice as to how good this cut can be. When dining at Outback Steakhouse, however, you have a good chance of scoring a cheaper steak that's also high quality. The center-cut sirloin sold at Outback is known for being a delicious cut of meat, with the phrase "cooked to perfection" thrown around by satisfied customers. The sirloin rings up at around $17 for 6 ounces, though the steak comes as big as 11 ounces for around $23 for people with a hearty appetite. Each steak is dished up with a potato side of your choice, along with your choice of a second side. You can also plus it up by adding grilled onions, mushrooms, butter topping, grilled shrimp, and a variety of other options for a fee per topping. All in all, those sirloin steaks tend to be hit or miss at an inexpensive price point. Reviews from satisfied customers agree the one sold at Outback is a solid option. The fact that it can be paired with either complimentary side dishes or other premium choices is a bonus reason to hit up the chain steakhouse. Another winner at fine dining restaurants, the 8-ounce petite filet mignon at Fleming's is incredible according to guest reports. The steak is priced at $55, which makes it the cheapest steak option on the menu. But according to diners, despite the higher price tag, this steak is apparently utter perfection, with reviewers claiming that it is always cooked perfectly to your exact specifications, and the flavor is consistently off the charts. Customers recommend ordering Fleming's potatoes, a cheesy au gratin side, to pair with your petite filet mignon. And you can also top your steak with enhancers such as herbed horseradish butter, smoked chili butter, or béarnaise butter for added flavor, or pair it with lobster. Other side dish options like the chipotle macaroni and cheese or the flash-fried Brussels sprouts are excellent choices to pair with this steak to formulate a meal you'll remember. This savory 8-ounce filet mignon is undoubtedly a top pick. When it comes to top-notch high-end restaurants, most people generally expect a great steak. At Del Frisco's Double Eagle Steakhouse, the expectation is no different, and thankfully, this upscale restaurant delivers. It seems that most establishments of this caliber do quite well when it comes to even the cheapest steak on the menu, and as such, it is no surprise that the 8-ounce filet mignon served here has received stellar reviews. Comments like ridiculously good, the best filet I have ever had, and food from heaven are all phrases circulating online from satisfied diners, making this filet arguably the most popular and beloved option out there. Expect to get your fill and then some when dining at Del Frisco's. Yes, the 8-ounce filet costs around $55, but guests couldn't be more pleased.